Of course, I'm 17 years on the dragon's path. Of course, it doesn't mean that I'm much more than for example, someone who is only 10 years on the dragon's path or even 1 year on the dragon's path. Every path is different, so how it comes, how it becomes, you cannot measure each other's path. So if you are 40 or 50 years on the dragon's path or 1 year on the dragon's path, it doesn't matter. What actually matters is that you eventually are on the dragon's path. And so inside of this path, we sometimes remember how our dragons make themselves known, most of the time to let us feel them. We feel them very much. We are actually connected to the dragon, and when the dragon is very close by, they will not hesitate to let you know that they are there. So they are actually the ones who want to touch your soul and awaken you. And this is the moment that you have to allow them to. And that is also something, you know, that happened to me that is inside of my book of Dragon Shadows with a big question mark. When was the first time that I could ever feel or even see my dragon? And it might be even much more before my 18th birthday, when eventually I was awakened. And that was the moment that I was actually about to die in this world. In this world, I was about to die of a brain disease. I already told you that. And I was wondering myself, you know, when my dad said, no one was allowed to enter the room where you were. Whenever you were in so much pain, no one was allowed. You were screaming, you were shouting, even your mom, even your aunt, no one was allowed to enter that hospital room. And no one, because even the doctors, when the doctors came close by, I was screaming and shouting that they had to go away. There was only one person that was allowed to stay, and that was my dad. That was bizarre, because in the first years of my life, he wasn't that, you know, he was more like that he wanted to do his hobbies. He was not home that much, you know. I was actually much more home with my mom. But later on in my life, I came to understand that he was one, if not the biggest part of my life here on earth. He was my guide through humanity. He took care of me, actually. I was confused as hell, especially once the dragon was awakening me. I was so far away from humanity. But he did my financial stuff. He did everything for me. He even found a job for me that I even still to this day work. And so yeah, he was actually also the one that went with me all of these trips. And you know, whenever he was divorced of my mom, he became a real dad. He became a precious person in my life, someone that I wish that we all have, someone in our lives that support us whatever we do. And so sometimes we are far away from humanity, and sometimes we need help, and that is what I had, and that is what I actually believe that this was. It could be actually this is something that I really feel. This, when I was about to die out of fever and disease of my brain, my dragon was there, because my dad said you were always trying to grab something, like something was in front of you. And it was so beautiful how he said it. Now, not that long ago he said that. You will never forget that. There was always grabbing, always try to hold something that is in front of me. But there was nothing. Even the doctors weren't supposed to be close. But they had to take care of me. But then after a few seconds going inside of the scanner to check my brain if I still was there, you know, I came out of it cured. The doctors didn't know what was going on, cured. And my dad was so relieved because they already gave up on me. I was only 2 years old. And that is what I could actually say. That is, you know, I had a lot of stories, you know, from my awakening, that I could even see my dragon on my 18th birthday. My 18th birthday, my dragon awakened me. My dragon has been able to touch a spirit inside of it, of myself that was asleep. But you know what I believe? Whenever you were a child, a young child, or maybe a baby, your eyes were not asleep yet. Your eyes, your draconic eyes, could see a lot of things. Of course, I could not remember what I've seen there, but I can connect the dots to each other, that I've eventually see the dragon. And you know what dragons also are, my brothers and sisters? Fortune tellers. They know what your future is. If your future tells the dragon that you are supposed to die in that moment, your dragon can change that. You know why? Because dragons are collectors of energies. And these collectors of energies, you know, they can see your future, your past, but also, you know, what is about to come. When you normally should actually die, and when they prevent your death, they can actually see it further on. They have to collect your soul. My dragon, and you know, a lot of these Christians say you shouldn't do this, it's only death. My dragon at least saved my life 3 times in this life, at least that I know about. In this life 3 times. And what did Christianity do? Nothing, of course, nothing at all. And so yeah, dragons are collectors of energies, and in these energies they can see that who you really are, because this is a collection of your own energy. And you know where it comes from, where fortune tellers actually read from a crystal ball, because it forms like a ball. Sometimes you can even see images of dragons wherever they hold a ball or a crystal ball inside of their hand. That is because dragons are collectors of this. This is actually the energy that they want to see. Dragon spirits can collect your energy, but also other energies. They are amazing. You know why? Because the dragon's eye can see right through it. You know, that is why it's so important to, you know, that is also why it's called the dragon. The dragon connection with us is being called the dragon's eye. The dragon's eye can see much more. The dragon's eye can see through souls. The dragon's eye can also see energies. The dragon's eye is the 3rd eye that we get when we are awakened, and we have to do it much more open. It's actually the eyes behind your human eyes, and these eyes is where your dragon also looks through, and your dragon god as well. You can also see through the eyes of your dragon, inside their perspective. Also from the dragon gods as well. You are one together. That is why the unity of the dragons, of your dragons, is being called the dragon's eye. And they can see wherever you have energies. And they can prevent your death even. They can continue your life. Because, like I always say, your story needs to be told. And so, in this life, my dad is the most important person on earth. Once my dad is gone, my life is actually over. You know, in this life, in this human life, my life is over. And my dragon knew that. It seemed that my dragon knew that. He was the only one allowed to enter this room. Not my mom, that I actually cared much more about at that time, but my mom was not allowed to enter that room. Even though I was about to die, I was kicking and screaming like my life is at stake. But my dad was always allowed to stay. It's like the dragon inside of myself knew this. It was connecting with the dragon in front of me. The dragon that I am with today. The dragon that I've seen coming back when I was 18 years old. My dragon by my side, my guardian. And that is what I believe what all dragons are. They are collectors of energy. They can see your past and present. They can see your soul. They can see whenever you are lying or telling the truth, because they collect your energy. Of course, they give it back. They don't hold it back, or they interact it with each other. You exchange energies. That is also what dragons do. They exchange energies with you. They keep the energy that you have, and in exchange you feel your dragon's energy, the energy of their soul, and that remains with you as well. It's actually very beautiful and intense feeling that you can have whenever you exchange energies with your dragon. And that is what I believe what happened when I was 2 years old. I believe that my dragon was there, knowing that I was about to die, and it was just far too early. You know, this is a gate, and whenever I die in so much pain, I might lose my dragon, because according to my dad, the pain that you had to endure at that moment when you were 2 years old, you were screaming for the entire hallways. Everyone could hear you, even on other levels. They could hear you screaming out of pain that you have inside of your head. And then, yeah, I believe that that I was going to die and lose my dragon as well. And this is something that the dragon did not allow. Of course, you can say that this is wishful thinking. Well, actually, my brothers and sisters, this is something that I really feel, and this is, once again, a new thing to discover on my dragon's path. Like I said, every dragon's path is different, so the story will be different, but where we all going will be very intense. And maybe because I was actually supposed to die, that I already have a very early intense interaction and exchange with the dragon at that moment. The dragon was giving me power and energy so I could survive and heal. The healing power of dragons that I could very much understand from that moment on. Healing powers of dragons, their collecting energies, and their ability to save your life.